Marcos, who was the founder of the Cultural Center of the Philippines, wanted a ceremony that would launch the establishment of the Cultural Center of the Philippines and start the construction of the CCP main building. Typically, that would have been a laying the cornerstone ceremony. But Mrs. Marcos wanted a more significant event. She organized a program and dubbed it as Alay at Pamana, which means offering and legacy. The event was organized and held on April 17, 1966 on the CCP grounds. The CCP grounds at that time was a barren piece of land, reclaimed land. No, there was nothing on it because it was still being reclaimed at that time. The program started at 5:30 in the afternoon. There were around 200 to 300 people at that time who were invited. These were important politicians, some businessmen, and a large majority were artists, Filipino artists at that time. There were, of course, speeches by some important people, together with the speech of Mrs. Marcos. The program was highlighted by the time capsule ceremony. She chose 7 artists, by the way, to represent the artistic community. And these were Francisca Reyes Aquino representing dance, Vita Fuentes for music, Victorio Edades for painting, and Guillermo Tolentino for sculpture. All of these 4 artists were subsequently named national artists by the CCP. The 3 other artists were Inigo Regalado for literature, Antonio Toledo for architecture, and Francisca Zamora for theater arts. The time capsule wasn't big like all time capsules. I think it was 2.5 feet tall and about 8 inches in diameter. It was made of stainless steel. So the ceremony started with the 7 chosen artists behind Mrs. Marcos with their important works documented on paper. Each one folded the paper and inserted it inside the time capsule with the assistance of Mrs. Marcos. So the time capsule was sealed and Mrs. Marcos lowered the time capsule in the hole dug up for the ceremony. After the program, there was a small merienda served among the guests. The time capsule contained documentation of significant Filipino artistic works that symbolize the cultural legacy of the people at that time to future generations of Filipinos. But no one knows exactly what important works were put in there on paper. Mrs. Marcos couldn't remember also, how this whole thing started. I was president of the CCP in 2009 when it celebrated its Ruby anniversary, 40th year ng CCP. So I was the one behind all the planning for the year-long set of and schedule of activities to celebrate the 40th year. And of course, we invited Mrs. Marcos to some of the events. And during one of the shows, I was with her and we were chatting on the mezzanine of the CCP, the one over partner box mezzanine, overlooking the main lobby. And I remembered to ask her, I said, we want to unearth the CCP time capsule that you buried in 1966. And can you tell us where you buried the time capsule? And she looked at me and she said, I think somewhere there. Gumanon siya, pointing towards the front lawn. Oh my God, how can we naman dig up the whole front lawn just to look for the time capsule, no? Well, understandably, for somebody who buried a time capsule 43 years hence ago, at that time, in 2009, would not remember where it was because at that time, the CCP was open space. Wala pa yung building. So, mahirap tandaan. But previously, I had asked Tita King Kasilag also and Lindy Locsin because I'm sure they were present during the ceremony. But they told me they can't remember anymore where it was in location to the main building because the main building wasn't present at that time yet. Last night, I went over the photos that Paula posted and included a location diagram that was sent to guests who were invited for the ceremony for them to be able to go where the program would be held. And having worked on the Supreme Court case of the CCP land and having viewed, when I was president, photos of the CCP complex before, during the reclamation, and during and after the construction of the CCP main building, I would think, and this is even a wild guess also, based on the diagrams and the photos, that it would be located in the back corner of the main building, the one facing Star City, along Vicente Soto Avenue, where the guardhouse to the south parking is. For sure, it's not on the front lawn. You can start digging the grounds there. But you know, it works two ways. Either the time capsule is meant to be unearthed or it's meant to stay there until the building is torn down and they discover the time capsule.